Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Great to see you. I'm glad the chat is working now. I think because we had that other room open so long, the chat wasn't working. So I wanted to restart the show so everyone could come in. The chat and any subjudice, contempt, warnings, and comments will now be turned back on. As promised at the end of the trial, I would do that, and that will happen. Yeah, moments ago, less than about, what was it now? About 20 minutes ago now, we heard from the jury, and as they confirmed their verdict on all four charges, guilty. So a very pretty lengthy deliberations, 7 days. They had a break yesterday, so maybe that's what they needed, was just a break. They had been going at it for 6 days. They were like last Monday and they did Saturday as well. So they had a bit of a break yesterday. All four charges guilty came from the jury. So we now move into a sentencing phase of this. The trial phase now over, and we'll proceed to the next part, which is I will be there for sentencing too. I will be there for it. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence, a lot of evidence. Hold on, guys. Yeah, so four charges were 3 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and so they were for each person. That is Don and Gail Patterson. Oh, I said Don. Yeah, Don and Gail Patterson, Heather Wilkinson, and Ian Wilkinson is the attempted murder charge. So the first three are the murder charges, and the fourth one for Ian is the attempted murder charge. It is good to see you guys here. Let me get my camera on. Hey, good to see you all. Good to be here. As you can see, I'm here. Teleportation is a great invention. I hope the government gives it to you guys eventually. Teleportation is a hell of a technology built from alien wrecked spacecraft. You know, we got to use it for the trial. That's how I got from Orwell to here. It's a wonderful invention. Good to see you all. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a hell of a journey. Now I don't have to limit what I have to say anymore, which is nice. And that was probably the hardest thing over the last 10 weeks, 2.5 months, was learning how to not give you my opinion on things, because the things we hear every day, I want to tell you, like, this goes to this and this goes to that. We'll get more into that, I promise. But if you have any questions that you want me to answer, I can do that for you and give you a bit of an update. Hey, Insightful One, I got through my first trial. Hell of a trial to pick for the first one, right? 10 weeks on a national trial, that are worldwide, really, and got to do all of it through the Supreme Court. So I first and foremost would like to thank the Supreme Court team for all the help. Thank you very much to the people who run their team. They did a great job throughout the trial, and I just wanted to say thank you for all their hard work. They work night and day to help the media, so thank you to them. Secondly, I want to thank all my viewers and all the supporters who were supporting the channel, allowed me to get to the trial every day and bring you the content from it every single day for the last 2.5 months. So yeah, thank you very much to all of those people. Thank you, Dragon. I appreciate it. Plus Mrs. Ping being sick, yeah, that was a hell of a spanner that got thrown into the cogs during the trial, with her getting hospitalized for the last 5 weeks. Wasn't easy, but yeah, we did it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. I worked hard to make sure that we didn't get in any trouble, and that was the promise I made to the Supreme Court too. When they allowed me to cover the case from the courtroom, I promised them, I was like, hey, I know I'm just one guy. I'll do my best, to follow the laws and the subjudice things and the contempt of court, and I did for the most part. I did for the most part, you know. But yeah, we got lots more content coming. Give me a couple of weeks. Not a couple of weeks. Sorry. Give me about a week. There's still some things in the There's still some things being worked out, and I think I'll hear back about them over the next few days. It's only been like 20 minutes since we got the verdict. So, what did I think? Oh, I'll give you my honest opinion. I thought about halfway through the trial, I thought it was in trouble. I thought we were in trouble. I really did. I was listening to the evidence and I was like, I don't know if they got enough here. I was like, this is really thin. Because about week 2, week 3, we started hearing a lot of that medical evidence. And I was like, I'm not sure why they keep focusing on that. And then I was worried. I was like, if this is all they have, we might not get to the end of this. So how many days were I in court? I was in court every day, every day. Almost, I think there was only a few days where I wasn't physically there, but they're almost the entire trial, from week 1 to the end. I was in court. Today was the only day I wasn't physically there, and that's all I can tell you about it. And it's because the notification was going to be very short, like the notification between like court and when court's going to reconvene and stuff like that was going to be so tiny that I wasn't going to be able to make it in. So that's why I'm not there right now. But that's all I can tell you about that. About Erin testifying, yeah. I tell you one of the more interesting parts of the trial that I thought was. I just want to make sure I'm not going to get yelled at. Hold on. I don't think so. We've got a verdict now. Give me one sec. Okay. I thought for the first few days that Erin was on the stand, I bought what the defense was giving. I really did. I was sitting there in court going, did we get this all wrong? Is this an innocent woman up here on the stand? I really thought that for about the first day and a half. And I was like, oh my God, did we get this all wrong? And then when the prosecution came and got that in, sorry, my cat's kicking something. I was waiting until she was finished. So the first few days that Erin was on the stand, I really thought that I was like, oh, maybe we've got an innocent person here on the stand. And then the prosecution came in and started poking holes in a lot of what they were talking about, which I brought to you each night. Each night, I brought to you what I thought was most important. And I couldn't use the word most important at the time because we weren't allowed to use that descriptor. So I hope you understand what I was trying to. I kept saying, this is what I want to report to you. But what I was trying to say to you is I thought that was the most important things from the trial each night that I thought you guys all needed to know about. Yeah, so that's what I thought throughout the trial. I found my mindset flipping throughout the trial, depending on the day, depending on who was on the stand and what they were talking about. So it shows you the ebbs and flows of a trial, especially from what I felt. Like I said, the first couple of weeks after the opening week, I was like, wow, is this all they have? Because I was concerned. I was like, wow, if this is all we're going to get during the trial. But I thought the prosecution closed strongly at the end. They tied it all up, and I thought they really drove home a lot of their case to the jury at the end. So, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. It's been a very hectic afternoon. Pain Chocolate said, I think she may have only intended to make them sick like previously with her husband, but didn't realize how elderly people are more susceptible. I mean, you might be right. You might be right. Hey, Danny, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you all. Let me see if I got any others. Hey, Aaron, good to have you out here. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, little Texan, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, that was the hardest part was keeping my trap shut for 2.5 months, and yeah, yeah. You guys can go nuts now. You guys can post whatever you want. It's over as soon as you get a verdict and the jury has been discharged, which they have. We're not bound by those subjudice contempt things anymore because it's not a live trial. There's no jury to subdivert anymore. So we are done. Hey Trisha, back to the Thanksgiving, back to the start. That's right. Back to the start. We are gonna go all the way back to week one. I have been working on that podcast. We have the first 2 episodes just about done. I think they're done, but got a couple of finishing touches I'd like to do to them. That'll cover week one. So what happened in week one? Well, we heard from the opening statements on day one, and then we heard from Simon Patterson. Simon Patterson was the almost entirety of week one, and it was his evidence that was first out of the gate in this trial, who is Erin Patterson's estranged husband. So, now, as of this point in time, Erin Patterson is a convicted triple murderer. She is a convicted triple murderer. So that is, she's been found guilty, and she's been found guilty on an attempted murder charge for Ian Wilkinson too. So not only a triple murderer, but also a convicted someone of attempted murder too. So there we go. After 2 years, this has been a long process. After 2 years of following this, we're finally at the end of this trial phase. Hey LD, thank you for all your efforts I've included to your daily reports from your work in the courtroom. Thank you, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the nice comments. It's been a ton of work. Thank you. I'll have to say it. The other media that I watched, and some of them I got to talk to and make friends with, they work very hard too to bring you the news every day. That's the thing I realized. One of the big lessons I realized working within the media room is they work so hard. Those guys, they can type faster than Ping can. They're doing like live updates from their laptops and things. They work very, very hard to bring you those updates live and doing those live blogs and stuff like that. So met some nice people throughout the trial. Rachel said, "Do you think her husband believes that she did this deliberately?" Yeah, I do. Yes, I think so. I think when you lose your parents and you lose your auntie and uncle, or your uncle almost died, but you lose your mum and dad, your auntie, and your uncle almost died too under these circumstances. I believe so. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know Simon, but I think so. I think he'd have to know. Hey, Danny. Ah, watch more points. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure either. After listening to all of the evidence, the only thing I can come up with, and it's what the trial sort of put through, was it was a woman who, she had this relationship breakdown with Simon, and then like through her own testimony, felt isolated from that family circle when she didn't have a lot of family herself. Like she has a little bit of family in this world, like on her side, but not a ton. And I think she found family when she married Simon. And it may have been the downfall of their relationship and then feeling ostracized from that family group, or at least her believed thinking that she was being ostracized. It could be something like that, but as the prosecution said, that they really didn't bring a motive to this trial, and it wasn't one of the elements that they asked the jury to find. The whole thing about this case was intent, that from day one, opening statements, they told us that we may not ever hear what the motive might be. And even in the judge's charge at the end, he said that some murders happen for no reason that other people might know. Only the killer really understands why they did it. So it wasn't structurally important to the Crown's case to have a motive. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, Jelly Tot. Hey, let me go back up here. Why did that? There we go. Hey, Jelly Tot. Thank you so much. It's very generous. I appreciate it. Thank you. Looking forward to the shows, followed every day. I thought at times there was reasonable doubts. I'm interested to know all the information. And I'll bring you more. We were able to cover a couple of hours every night after trial, but there's still a bunch of things there that we can go into and have a look at from my notes from the trial, and can walk you through some of the evidence. And now we can sort of play Connect 4, and I can show you and link things back to other parts of the evidence and show you why that matters. I was unable to do that during the trial, but now I can. And I already have a few things that I think you'll all find very interesting. So thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. You guys have been more than kind, more than generous throughout this trial. I appreciate it. It's very, very kind. Let's see. Rachel says, I have to think she deliberately picked those mushrooms. She seemed to lie about a lot of things. It was the defense's case that she told lies. And one of the things that the prosecution did, especially when Erin was in the witness box giving evidence, one of the things the prosecution did when they had their chance to cross-examine was they turned the defense's defense about telling lies against Erin. So it was almost like the Crown brought a case, the defense brought a counter-argument of these lies and an alternate explanation of it was an accidental poisoning. But when the Crown got a chance, when she went on the stand to give evidence, they flipped it around and started pushing all those lies back onto her and made her try to answer these questions. But instead, what we got was a lot of, I can't remember, I don't recall, I don't have a memory about that. So that's what we got a lot of, which I thought was a very shrewd move by the prosecution. Very clever legal point. Very, very clever legal point. Amy said, so to send it, no, I think it's going to be a while. I don't have a date. I think it's going to be later this year. I don't have a date. When I do, I'll tell you. I'll double check, but I don't think we heard one. I mean, let me just double check. Yeah, I don't have one. I don't have a date for a sentencing right now. When I do, I'll give it to you. Chipmunk says, the fact that she lied to get them there was huge to me. And who freezes mushrooms the way she claimed to save this and that? You want fresh if you make a dish like that. I think one of the other things, if you want to know what I found interesting from the evidence, was the Woolworths receipts, receipts that she had from a supermarket. And she bought all this puff pastry. So she bought like just tons of puff pastry, right? It seemed like to me like a dry run. It's almost like she was testing out whether adding these. The Crown case was that she powderized after she dried the death cap mushrooms and put it into the meal. It almost seemed like she was doing a test run of the recipe to make sure it would work for that weekend. Because otherwise, why do you need multiple kilos of puff pastry in several different types? Like she had like 50 different types of puff pastry. I think we worked it out. It was like 5 kilos or more of puff pastry and over 1.5 kilos of mushrooms when the recipe only called for about 1 kilo. So there you go. Hey, thank you to this person. Who's this? Hey, Marco. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Marco said, thanks, Ping, great work. Thanks, buddy. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you a lot for your help during the trial. Thank you. I'll never forget. I always appreciated that email, especially with how stressful this was. So thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Thank you very much. Thank you for that super chat. Donation. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed the content. Let's see. Chipmunk says, I think she was wanting revenge on her ex. The people there are ones that would hurt him if, you know, one of the things that we were told was how Simon turned down the invitation the night before. Maybe that is the motive, is that she was pissed off that he wasn't coming to support her at the lunch. And maybe she did this out of spite. Maybe it was out of spite of him not thinking that she was important enough to come to this special lunch. And maybe she's like, well, if you're not going to come, I'm going to, poison your family instead. It could be. I don't know if we'll ever find out. We have no idea. Marco said, I think she has Munchausen syndrome. It's a possibility. I have heard more than one person raise the possibility that she has some sort of Munchausen, because, you hear the medical evidence from her side about how she thinks she has cancer and ovarian stuff, and she had something in her elbow, and you heard this evidence where Dr. Googled all the time about all these different health issues, and she even had to admit at the trial that most of her sort of thoughts about what her health was were wrong, and that the doctors that diagnose and treat people do so for a reason, because they have the training to do that, and that by Googling stuff that she was just sort of spiraling and not actually helping herself. She was probably getting worse. But people with Munchausen can often do things like that, overstate what they think like their health issues are, and then they often think they're always sick, or it's sort of like hypochondriac, but that's not what they call it anymore. That's a very old terminology. Actually, Insightful One's here. Insightful One, what's that? What's the new classification for hypochondriac? It's a behavior disorder, right? Insightful One might know. Marco said yes. Then she was able to specifically recall a date 2 years ago being a Friday in a heartbeat. Yeah, so when the prosecution had her on the stand, I thought that was a real ace up the sleeve of the prosecution, that they basically said, well, she has such a great memory, but can't seem to recall these where the mushrooms were bought, what store it was, what suburb it was, really anything else about it, except it's somewhere over here in half of Melbourne. So the place that she pointed to is in the southeast of Melbourne, but it's like half of the southeast. That's one of the things we weren't able to fully tell you at the trial, was she named these suburbs, and they're some of the biggest suburbs in Melbourne. They're quite large and could be anywhere within a 3-suburb radius. It was quite far away. Hey, Insightful One, illness, anxiety disorder, IAD. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. That's what the new hypochondriac thing is called. Webslu said, you did a great job, Ping. I'm proud to say I know you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Hey, it's all thanks to these guys. These guys gave me my start in true crime, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today covering live trials for people. They saw something and were like, this guy should do live shows for people. So I thank them. Chipmunk says, I think women see the plate thing. If you have company over, you want things to match and be nice, unless it just don't matter. Her going all out for so long, plates would matter. She did characterize this lunch as a very special meal, because she might not be able to do this again for a while. So your theory makes sense, right? You want everything to be very like dinner party and very like meticulous. For a woman who seems to have attention to detail, you would think that would be correct. So, hey, Hugni, saw that there was a verdict came straight here. You guys want me to go through it again? So the jury, 2:15 today in the afternoon, the jury handed their verdict over to the court, and it is straight through. It's a straight run. 3 counts of murder, guilty. 1 count of attempted murder, guilty. So all 4 charges have come back as a guilty verdict. There you go. Rachel said, I agree. I would have made sure they matched, even if I had to buy a few solid colors. And this is not a woman who is short on money either. This is a woman who's quite wealthy. She has quite a lot of property, money, income. And that's why some of the things that they were squabbling about that we heard about, like the child money issues between Simon and her, it seemed like a very odd thing to want to fight about when this is a woman who's quite financially well off. It's like, why are you fighting over like a couple of $100 a month? So it was a little strange. Bookworm says, what is her potential sentence? Life in prison. Life in prison is her potential sentence. She could get, I don't know. I'm not sure what the sentencing report will be. We may find out later, but it could be life in prison. Here, I'll look up the Victorian statute. Hold on. Pretty sure it could be life in prison. Yeah, so in Victoria, Australia, the standard sentence for murder is 25 years imprisonment. This is a standard sentence offence, meaning the court considers the length of time as the midpoint of seriousness for the crime of murder. However, the penalty can be more severe, particularly if the victim was, they're saying if they're like a police officer or emergency worker, but that's not anything here. They say the maximum penalty for murder in Victoria is life imprisonment. So the standard sentence is about 25 years, but there is a life in prison order, which when sentencing comes through, that may be something they have to consider. There you go. This is a potential. What is the attempted murder will be similar because they see them about the same. Attempted. Yeah, it's very similar. This is for the attempted murder charge. It's very, very similar. The court sees them almost exactly the same. That happens in quite a lot of cases. That's for the attempted murder charge. So she's got 3 of them for the murder charge and 1 of these ones for the attempted murder. So they could run concurrently. They could run consecutively. We'll see. Most of the time they run concurrently. Most of the time, anyway. Laura T said, will she be in the same place? Will she be moved? I don't know. I don't know anything about her custodial arrangements. Sorry, I have no idea. They don't tell us anything about that. I mean, she'll be in a jail. Which one? Possibly the same one that she's always been in. It's the biggest one in Melbourne, so. Not that I saw or heard, but I'm guessing she'll have time to self-reflect on this in the coming hours and time. I don't actually know about that. We'll hear more. There'll be a date coming up. I just don't think we've got it yet. And then we'll probably hear a lot more about that type of stuff, but I don't have it right now. When I do, I'll let you know. Possibly, yep. Jelly, when I know that, I'll tell you. LD says, does Australia allow sentences to be served concurrently? Will she have to serve 3 murders and 1 attempted? Normally they're served like sort of jointly at the same time, but sometimes they can be put consecutively. It depends. Hold on. Consecutive. Yeah, here. The court has the discretion to order sentences be served concurrently at the same time or consecutively, one after another. So it's going to be up to the sentencing judge and the process for that. So it could be, it's like in America, it could be either. Hey, oh wow, hey, thank you. Hey Gracie G. Hello from Chadston, Jordanville. Hey, good to see you. My friend's sister has a shop across from the court in Morwell. She did mushroom on toast breakfast daily. That's pretty funny. And other funny ones. Some don't get out. Monster never will. Yeah, possibly she'll never get out. Hey, I think I know the cafe that you're talking about. When I was in Morwell, I'm pretty sure I dropped in there like several times, right near the courthouse. It's just a little down from it. I know where you're talking about. Yeah. So thank you. Hey, I should have said hello to your friend's sister. I will say this too. Everyone in Morwell was extremely welcoming. My time in Morwell was fine. I didn't have any problems, and most of the shopkeepers, the people in the supermarkets, people in town, they all knew I was media because I guess I was carrying a backpack with a laptop and probably looked like someone who was covering the case. And I will say I never once had any negativity from anyone in Morwell. Not once. Everyone was really nice, and I enjoyed my time in Morwell. Beautiful town. I loved the view of the mountains out there. It was very pretty to wake up to that every morning. And yeah, the people in Morwell were very nice. I didn't, when I was going out there, I heard a lot of horror stories from people. They're like, "Oh, it's like Moe, and the people are going to bash you walking down the street and stuff." And I had none of those problems in Morwell. Everyone was very kind. Yeah, it is. The mountains, like it's sort of like that the valley, so you can see all the mountain ranges in the distance. It was very pretty, very very pretty, especially in the morning with the fog and the sunset in the evening. So after court, I would often sit outside out of my motel room, and I would watch the sun go down and watch it go down over the sort of mountain range or valley or whatever. And it was so pretty. It was actually very picturesque. Yeah, people were nice. I like the people of Morwell. Taz said, we used to pick mushrooms from a cow paddock nearby. Your dad was trying to kill you. Hey, Danny, what's up, buddy? Good to see you all. Hey, Amy. And all the cloud makers. Yeah, that's right. Now, let me see. I just want to see if I've got any more questions. Hey, Taz. I was on the fence with this one. Just doesn't make sense of killing people that seem to be supportive of her. I didn't listen to all the evidence, though. Sorry, Ping, I trust the jury. No, hey, I understand. Like I said a little while ago, about halfway through the trial, even I was thinking, is this all they have? I was surprised by what the actual evidence was. I was a bit like, is this all we're getting? So I agree with you. The other thing that never made sense to me was the focus on death cap mushrooms. If in the court case, the focus was on whether this was intentional or not, why spend all that time trying to define what a death cap mushroom was? I never understood that. Like we had a lot of court time devoted to like, this is a death cap mushroom and this is how they grow and stuff like that. And I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because it's not in contention. It's an agreed fact that there were death cap mushrooms in the meal. So why did we have to have all this evidence on it? Didn't make a lot of sense to me. So same with the medical evidence. We spent about a week or two on medical evidence, but it was all the same evidence basically with a few little bits different because you're talking to these doctors that all read the file, right, between the patients. So you're getting a slightly different point of view. About the only ones that I thought were really important were the ones who directly interacted with Erin. Those ones were, I thought, quite good, but some of it just felt like we were repeating the same information over and over again. Hey, Justice, I wish it could have been recorded on camera. No cameras in the courtrooms here, my friends. Although sometimes there is, but not at this one. Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have been extremely kind. Sorry. Hey, Danielle, why did she do it? I don't know if we're ever going to know. I don't know if we're ever going to fully know. I think the only person who knows is Erin. That's it. I think she's the only one. Hey, Video Reel. Hey, Bookworm. Bookworm says maybe the evidence about death cap was to show the difference between them and edible types. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but there was just a lot of there's just a lot. And it was like, well, it's an agreed factor there. I sort of like the mycologist evidence. I learned a lot about mushrooms that I never knew before. And then we heard from the forensic, what was he called? Forensic botanist? Or I'll have to look it up. But he was DNA barcoding parts of the evidence from the dehydrator that had the debris of mushrooms in it. And he's like, oh, I DNA barcoded it to a reference sample of mushrooms. One of them was butter mushroom, and then one of them was death cap. That was very impressive, actually. Pretty cool technology. Gail said, I'm in Edinburgh. My sister lived in Melbourne. Yeah, that's right. Taz says, occasionally for big cases, they might film the sentencing. It'll be interesting if they choose to do it for this one. I have no idea if they will or not. We haven't heard anything yet. The fact that they're being so clamped down on how it was reported, who was reporting it, no cameras, no public available, this and that. I don't know if they will. Gail said because she could, we will probably never know. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever truly know. I think if there was a reason, the prosecution would have been able to figure it out in the 2 years that they had to investigate. So, and they didn't. The one thing that always got me was, where is phone A? So we heard this evidence about phone A, that when police raided her house, she gave a phone to the police that had been wiped, and it was like a brand new phone. What happened to phone A? And it's obvious now that the jury didn't agree with the evidence that her original phone was broken, so she just replaced it with a new one right around the time these people died. It sounds like she got rid of it, and whatever was on that phone has never been located. So Chipmunk says she seems passive aggressive. So yeah, maybe they all got along, but secretly she hated them. It could be. Marco said, I think they wanted to prove that Death Cap wouldn't be sold commercially. That bit of the evidence, yes. So that was a big bit of the trial where they proved that Death Cap mushrooms had never been found in China. Well, there was other species of Amanita found in China, but not Death Cap Amanita phalloides. They had never grown in China, and that evidence was there, as Marco says, to tell the jury there's no way someone could have like accidentally or commercially grown it in Asia and then somehow ended up in a package and then sent to Australia. So yeah, that evidence was about that. It was to disprove the fact that this could be in some sort of commercial imported package from Asia. So there you go. Rachel said Erin seemed very disturbed that her husband left her and that his family was leaving her too. They seemed like they would have stuck by her even if they divorced. Yeah, I think they would have, because they wanted to be in the grandchildren's lives. And I think we heard that evidence during the trial, that they had a great appreciation for their grandchildren. So they wanted to be in their lives. And I think by extension, Erin would have been in their lives too, because she's the mum and the children lived with her for the majority of the time. So I don't know why she had that feeling. It seemed to stem from that relationship breakdown with Simon and something there. I don't know if we ever heard the full extent of it, but they seem to get back together and then they break up and they'd be close for a while and then they wouldn't be close and they'd go on these family vacations and then they sort of like reunited and they come home, try to live together, and then they break up again. And that went on quite a few times. Then he said, poor kids. Look, their mum is now a triple murderer, but they do have their dad, and dad is still around with a large extended family that we heard from the trial. And as hard as this will be on any child, at least they still have some family, which is good. Yeah, I want to see what Tamara has to say. Tamara said if she was innocent, I would think she would have done everything possible to assist with the investigation and openly admitted she was a forager if she really loved those people. She could have also told the hospital staff that she realized that it could have been a wild mushroom. So she said in her evidence that she realized sometime after the lunch, when everyone started to get ill, that there may have been wild mushrooms or death caps in the meal, but she never notified any medical staff of this information or her sort of development about it. And you would think if you really love these people, then you would have done that because it might have saved their life. It may have got to help earlier to them to maybe save them. Maybe they would be here today. Ah, the docket sent you? Oh, well, thank you to Eric, my buddy. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Or his moderator. Thank you. Hey, good to see you. Who goes around collecting poisonous mushrooms for fun when there are children at the home? That's a good point. They also said that they never believed that she had any interest in other mushrooms, and that when they confiscated and cataloged her book collection, they never once found any other book dedicated to like wild mushrooms or any other type of mushrooming or foraging. Same with her group chat conversations with her friends. They never see one mention of wild mushroom foraging in many years of chatting with each other, including when she showed the dehydrator to them, but never mentioned that she went wild mushrooming to use in the dehydrator. So that's very odd. But thank you. Hey, thank you. I agree with you. Marlene said she came close to killing. Well, I don't know if we'll ever know anything about that. LD said there is a reason we've been drinking coffee and tea since it was discovered and not mushroom brew. Yeah, that could be true. Chipmunk said Erin doesn't seem like she would know what to do with a fungi, or a fun guy. Yeah, I don't know. Is Simon a fun guy? He could be. I don't know him. Let's see. Hey Jenny, good to see you. Chipmunk said, I'm thinking the split was a big part of it. I mean, anytime relationships come to an end and they're so intertwined in people's lives for over 20 years, there's always going to be problems. And it almost seemed like Erin and Simon's relationship became toxic because when you hear the evidence, he did this and he's coercive, and then he's like, oh, she would kick me out of the house, and then she was saying stuff like, oh, he's a dirty slob and I don't want my kids going to his home. And then it was very back and forward, and it was almost like they were throwing barbs at each other. You know, it just, some relationships don't end very well. And even though Simon, I think, still had appreciation for her as the mother of his children, sometimes people just can't live together. And that's what it seemed like for them. You don't want any mushroom coffee, Kathy? Are you sure? Hold on, guys. I need to check something. I saw my phone flash up. Kathy, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I saw it pop up just then. Thank you very much for for the donation. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you. Thank you for all your support throughout the trial. I appreciate it. Julie said, what perplexed me is why she didn't abort the mission when Simon didn't show. Maybe she's like, I'm just going to continue with it because to get back at him, sort of like revenge, you know. Oh, he doesn't think I'm important. Oh, he can't spare the time to come and listen to me about my medical issues. Well, maybe I'm just going to hurt him. It could have been. Chipmunk said, I bought one of those mushroom coffees. I got sick from it. Then this trial came along. There you go. Serendipity at work. Maybe. I don't know if that ever happened, but LD says chicory, a plant, was used in the US on the South by poor people and during the Civil War when the South could not get coffee. Chicory. Okay, I can't say I've ever had it. You wish you liked mushrooms? I don't know. I feel bad for the people who sell mushrooms. I feel like they're gonna have like a down sales period again because of the trial. They're gonna have like low sales. You missed the verdict. It's guilty. Guilty on all 4 charges. So 3 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder for each of those people. Don and Gail Patterson, Heather Wilkinson, and then an attempted murder charge for Ian Wilkinson, who survived. So there we go. Hey JDR, how are you? Hey Joe, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Hey, I was on Joe's show the other night talking about the flooding. If you want to see that collab, head to Joe's channel and see that. I'll post a link in the description of our live show and his channel so you guys can go see that. Tamara says, Caro and Nature's Cuppa contain chicory. Okay. Interesting. Pain Chocolate says, LDS use chicory as a coffee substitute because no caffeine. Okay. I can't say I've ever had it. Julie Miller said, Ping, are they going to televise the verdict like other Australian trials? I don't know. They haven't told us anything as of yet. They may. I'll see if I get an update and that is part of it. I'll let you know. But right now, it's all a little up in the air. I'll let you know when I know. Gracie, I was busy on my channel doing shorts and left Prime for a while. Just animals and nature rivers. So happy I came here today. You're recovering from a femur reconstruction surgery. Oh my god. I hope you get better soon. That sounds like a very tough surgery to have. LD said, if those who do not like mushrooms, if you lay them in the sun for 1 to 2 hours, okay, you could try that. You could try that. What they suggest as a way of liking them. Who's messaging me? Hold on. There we go. Hey, Cap Ballo. Just heard here in Oz, great news. Yep, we got a verdict after hearing nothing for a week. It was a very quiet deliberation. I was expecting we might hear a couple of things here and there, but we heard nothing. And then all of a sudden, around lunchtime, everything started going a little haywire, and we started hearing like, okay, this afternoon. So we all sort of got our notice and started getting ready for the verdict. So there we go. It was very quick. We had only about a small period of time. That's why I wasn't there. I still watched the verdict and I heard it and all that. But it's why I didn't actually go into the court, because the time between being notified and then going in was like minuscule. There was no way I would have made it. So yeah, let me see. Hey, thank you to that person. Hold on, I'll just read out their. I don't want to read out their other name. Oh, it's Medio. Medio, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the donation for the through the Ko-Fi. I appreciate it. Glad to have you here too. You get a high five. So do all the other people who have donated tonight. Thank you very much. Julie says, "Woman of Steel, they often televise sentencing of big trials here," and the judge's remarks. I don't know with how clamped down this particular trial was on the. They were very worried about um, contempt of court and subdiverting a jury, and I don't know. They were very very. This trial was very tightly controlled with how the media worked and how much we could say and do, how much we were monitored about what we're actually putting out. So, I don't know whether they'll do it. Cataballo says, "At least there will be less reason for appeal as they took 5 days to decide." I say thank you to that jury, not because of their verdict at all. I just say thank you for their time. They spent 10 weeks of their life at this trial every day sitting in that jury area, listening to all the evidence, and then had to deliberate for over a week. That is 11 weeks of their time almost. And, they did their civic duty, and, that's all you can ask of anyone in our communities. Hold on. All right, sorry, I needed a drink. I was like, I need a drink, and I need to. I couldn't find it. I was like, where's my drink gone? Let's see. Chipmunk says, "I love mushrooms. I eat them anyway. It's a texture type food some avoid. I get that. I can't figure out why I don't like meatloaf. I love all the ingredients. Maybe it's a texture thing." How long do I think she'll get? Well, I showed you the sentencing ranges before here. So, I mean, come on, there we go. Even if we look at just one count of murder, right? Well, she's got 3, plus the attempted murder. So even if they made the murder sentences run concurrently, you still have the attempted murder charge as well that they could lay on top to run consecutively. So it could be 50 years. Could be, as they both hold a similar sentencing standard, 25 years for each murder and attempted murder. Could be up to 50 years if they chose to run the murder charges concurrently, and then the one murder charge, or sort of like the group of murder charges, and then the attempted murder charge consecutively. It could be 50 years at the that's the standard sentence is 25 years, but the maximum is life in prison. So there you go. Rachel said, "Tell us a few things about the evidence, but couldn't." I don't know. I'll have to look at my notes. I've got all these like folders and folders of notes. You'd have to ask me something specific, and then I might remember. You got to remember, it's been 10 weeks of shoveling knowledge and notes and words and sentences and paragraphs into my head every night to do the show. But if you think of a specific topic, I might remember. Retired said, "I didn't get a notification. Hello, everyone. Hey, good to see you." What did I think of Erin's evidence? I thought when she was with her defense, like her team, that she did really well on the stand. And I was like I said earlier, I was convinced. I was like, oh, did we get the wrong person? Is this all an accident? But when the prosecution used what she said with the defense and then spun it around on her, and then she couldn't answer the questions. It changed my mind. But I thought it was strange that she was unable to answer a lot of questions where it was a no comment, or I don't know, or I don't have a specific memory about that, or they asked her about the computer and she's like, well, I don't know, someone used it. Like, she couldn't say who used the computer, even though she had ordered dinner after after looking up the death cap mushrooms, that she ordered dinner from Curran Borough pub, and she was unable to say anything. I think she was believable in the first bit, but not when the prosecution was asking her questions. I thought it fell apart when the prosecution got a hold of her. When that happened, I thought the veil sort of broke. And but when the defense was there, like lobbing her softball questions, it worked. But it didn't work when the Nanette Rogers did a great job. I thought she did Miss Lenthal did a really good job too. I think Erin's lawyer did a great job too. I thought he was a very smart guy throughout the whole thing. I think all the legal teams did an amazing job. The court clerks, I'd like to give a shout out to the Supreme Court security team. And the people who work for the Supreme Court security, I just want to say hi and thank you for being amazing every day. The people who do all our scanning and checking us over and getting us in and out the courthouse, they were really nice people. They knew that we had to get in and out very fast, and they did their best to facilitate that. Thought they were good people. What other Australian cases got as much coverage as Erin's? I mean, there's been a few. I mean, the backpacker Ivan Milat got a lot of coverage. I mean, there's Gerald Baden Clay in Queensland got a lot of coverage. He killed his wife and dumped her body off a bridge in Queensland. That one got a lot of coverage. I mean, there's been several over the years, but thank you. Hey, Francesca, good to see you. LD said Erin told lies from the time she was arrested. That is true, and the fake tears. That was something I picked up on very early. If you go back to our old videos, you'll see me yelling at the screen going, she's got no tears. She's not even crying. You'll see that from me. Did she show much emotion throughout the trial? She did. Yeah, she did. And on the stand here and there too. Yes, I think she did. Although she got very short with the prosecution when Nanette Rogers was questioning her. She became very curt and short replied and almost like just gave her very short answers like no, yes, and she was almost sarcastic in some of her responses to Nanette Rogers. So Musical Neptunian, hey, good to see you. What was she thinking when Simon declined to attend? I think she was mad. I think the evidence shows that she was quite annoyed. I think her evidence shows that she was annoyed that he wouldn't come, that he wouldn't. It almost felt like he didn't care enough. Like he didn't want to go to the lunch because he didn't care about her medical issues or whatever. And you can see it in the text messages. She's annoyed with him. She's annoyed. She's like, well, why can't you come? I want you to be here. It's very important. I spent all this time and effort buying all this beef and mushrooms and pastry to try and put on a special meal. And I think she was pissed off that he wouldn't show up. He said he did not feel comfortable going to that lunch. Texas says, does the country region have to put the bill of the investigations and trials similar to the counties? Yeah, so our local government in Victoria foots the bill. So that'll be our Victorian government. That's who the DPP runs through. So that's the Department of Public Prosecutions. So yeah. Oh, okay. Really? A old jail in Victoria near Hopeton or Hopetown still has the bed and clothes. They should send. They should send her there. Maybe. Gail said, "Sorry, Erin, but if I get sick every time you cook, I'm not coming for lunch." Could be why he didn't go. I don't know. Chipmunk says, "I have a huge pet peeve for people that lie about having cancer." That was actually the number one thing I saw throughout the trial on social media when I was checking into it. Not that I could comment on it, but there was a lot of people that were not so angry. Well, they're angry that she is, according to the jury, killed 3 people and tried to kill a 4th. But they were pissed off that she used cancer as a sort of cover up for a lot of things. And they were like, there's a lot of people who are suffering from cancer, and you're actually taking away from their battle by pretending about this type of stuff. And I can tell you that my mother-in-law has cancer right now. So she has lung cancer. I never said anything during the trial. We only found out like about a month and a half ago, but she actually has lung cancer, and we found out actually just before Mrs. Ping went into hospital. We found out that her mum has lung cancer. So hold on, guys, my cat. Yeah, so I can see why you would be angry at it, because you have real life people who are going through real life battles with this type of nasty disease, and for you to use it as sort of like a game because you think that you have every illness under the sun. I understand why people are annoyed by it. Yeah, it's sad news, unfortunately. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Sorry to hear about Mrs. Ping and her mum. All this happening at once. Yeah, it seemed to all happen in one go. So Mrs. Ping's doing okay now. She'll be out of hospital soon, and then her mum goes in for cancer surgery in the next week or so. So we fixed the daughter. Now we got to fix the mum. So we're not leaving hospitals anytime soon. We're going to be hanging around a bit longer. Gail says my auntie has lung and breathing cancer at the moment. Yeah, it's awful. Sorry to hear that about your auntie. Hey, Lindy. Yeah, I know. So I kept it quiet during the trial because, well, you guys already knew and were worried about Mrs. Ping. So I didn't want to mention it. So now you guys know. All right, who's emailing me? Let's have a look. Nice. So our request for the exhibits was approved. So hold on. Yeah. Yeah, just give me 2 minutes, guys. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I just wanted to fix that. Yeah, so there you go. There you go. Julie Miller said, "What a hard month." Yeah, it's been a bit of a hard month. Jay said they kind of wasted a bit of time with the scientists with the microscope in our home evidence. Well, retired Erin said cancer sucks. I survived cancer in my 30s and now dealing with another form. I'm sorry to hear that. It seems to be getting to everyone. What did Chipmunk say? I wanted to see. Yeah, it seems to be a rise in lung cancer. I don't know why. It just seems like a lot of people have been struck down by it, unfortunately. Okay, cool. Wait, what are we waiting on? Sorry, guys, got a couple of things going on in the background. Okay, all right, cool. All right, cool. So yeah, we did get approved for our evidence, and I'll bring that to you at a later time when I can go through it and, you know, apply laws to it or whatever. But you guys will get an inside look into that later on. You guys will get an inside look into the evidence from the trial, probably over the coming days, over the next few days, and the next couple of weeks. We'll go through a bunch of it with you and show you what I described to you, but you never saw. You were never able to see it because we weren't able to, you know, broadcast or anything like that. No, there was no broadcasting from the courtroom. You had to be there, but you'll now be able to view that because our request was granted by Justice Beale, and I'll have that for you over the next little while. So tune in for that. Tune in for that if you want to actually see some of these bits of evidence. Musical Neptunian said there's been an increase in people getting lung cancer who have never smoked. It's not clear why. Yeah, I have seen that. That's what they were saying to my to Mrs. Ping's mom, that there's been a huge sort of like raise in the increase of it. Do you have an email? I do. It is in the chat for you there. There you go. I don't know who the F keeps ringing me. Keep getting rung by like random numbers sometimes. And it's like, I don't know anyone from this area in Australia. Let's see. Hey, Tamara. Oh, the contrails? Could be why. Could be why. Let's see. Laura T said, can you tell us now if you know, did the court watch any of your shows? Yes, they did. Yes, 100%. Yes, they did. Yep. I know that for a fact. Yes, of course. Yep, they did. Maybe somebody's watching. No, this wasn't. That's not them. I know their numbers. That's okay. It's not them. Let's see. Laura T said, thanks for video. Yeah. Thanks, Video Reel. Let me see. Let me just double check if we did get an update on the timing for a couple of things. I'll double check for you. So the Daily Mail's reporting that Detective Leading Senior Constable Laura Colley winked at reporters as she exited the courthouse. She is a Victorian Police Homicide Squad officer, and she's the one who arrested and handcuffed Erin Patterson. There's the photo of her winking at reporters as they left the courthouse today. They seemed quite confident. So I don't know. I don't know about you. I know that the Daily Mail's reporting that they like have a feeling of when Erin was cooked. For me, if you want to know when I thought that the tide had changed in the case, it was when Erin was on the stand with the prosecution, or in the witness box. In the witness box with the prosecution and Annette Rogers questioning her. That's when I felt like the tide changed in the trial. It wasn't before that. It wasn't after that. It was that moment. Before that, it was sort of a little up in the air and up and down, depending on the day. But when Annette Rogers questioned Erin Patterson, I felt like that's when the whole thing shifted. At least that was my perspective of the trial, of listening to it every day. It was that moment that was very key. And then the closing statements, the prosecution did a very efficient job of tying it up. They were quick. They were efficient in it. They didn't mess around. They just hit their points and their markers and got out. And I thought that was a very clever move by them too. As we're, it felt like Colin Mandy's one went on a little bit. So. What did Mr. Danny say? Let me have a look. I'm trying to find it. Where is Mr. Danny Mitchell? You're asking if the court hit the like? I don't know if they will. But thank you to the 3 people that I know from the Supreme Court. Thank you for everything. They're the ones who made it possible for me to be there, like physically there, and I appreciate them and all their work. They're great people. Hey Karen, how are you? Just found out of the guilty verdict. Yep. Yeah, that's what I think it said. I think it said it was a telemarketer. I don't know how they get my number, but 60 Minutes Australia should definitely interview Ping. So I guess I can tell you now, because I think I'm not going to be involved in it. I actually interviewed for a documentary, and it was based on the Erin Patterson trial, but I don't believe I'm going to be in it anymore. So it sucks, but it was nice. Apparently they told me that someone from my chat recommended me to them, and we interviewed well and did a bunch of stuff, but it just seemed more likely throughout the trial that their focus had shifted and they weren't going to go down the same route that they otherwise were going to. So I don't think I'm going to have anything to do with it going forward, which is a shame. I would have liked to. I thought it would be a great way to sort of tie this up, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So it's a shame. I actually like the guys who work there. They're both really nice, and got to see one of them at Morwell. I got to briefly say hello and saw them when I think it was week 1. I saw them up there. Danny Mitchell said, I may have shared your number on social media. Yeah. They should televise trials. They should. Blame the squeaky chair. Hey, I bought a new chair. They haven't delivered it. Marco said, I have always thought it was amazing how you can put food on a plate in the microwave and 2 minutes later it's hot without any flame or heating element. I wonder if this is linked to cancer increase. More microwave food? I mean, there has been a lot of microwave food. Like the sort of, I know in the 60s and 70s it became a big thing, but it seems to have a bit of a resurgence again. So, William still said, you'll get your chance for sure. There'll be other projects. I mean, I'm not massively concerned. Jay said, yeah, vindictive. That's right. You're watching? All right. But I agree with you, Marco. It could be. There has been a resurgence of like the fad of like cooking in microwaves or air fryers. I mean, who knows? Could come out in 10 years' time that everyone who's been using an air fryer has been, it's bad for you or something. Just like every 2 years, they're like, don't eat tomatoes. They're bad for you. And then 2 years later, they're like, tomatoes are really healthy for you. You should eat more of them. Happens every couple of years. Let's see. Rachel said the jury had to find it suspicious that Erin couldn't remember anything. I would say definitely. And I thought the prosecution in their closing statement put out a great point on it, saying that how can you remember these details from like 5 years ago, but you can't remember the store you went to to buy something that's so pivotal in your life, being this trial. And you can't give us any details like what the store looked like, what road it might be on, what suburb, you know, what the layout of the store might be. They like nothing. And barely could give them the idea of what the bag and label were on that mushrooms. She was just sort of like, it's sort of this big and it had like a label and it had mushrooms. Like, that's a very vague description. Right. Yeah. So there, yes, sort of. At least one of the areas was where one of her children plays sport, and that she was in one of the areas legitimately at one point, but I don't know if that covers all the times that the prosecution alleged that she was in these areas. So, but at least one of them was a crossover when her kid was at a sporting event. Tamara said, if you bought the mushrooms from a store and people died, surely you would sue the store owners. I mean, well, if we go back a step, wouldn't it be like they said at the trial, wouldn't it be a public health emergency? Wouldn't there be more than one person that got sick from it? Because it would be a batch, like a batch issue. So you'd have multiple packets that made its way out into the community. The Victorian Department of Health said no one else reported being sick from mushrooms in that year, from commercially bought mushrooms. So Chipmunk said, look at the bottom of the container. Kind of scary how many foods don't have a number 1 on them. That is true. They have the Mushroom TV series booked. Yeah, so yes, they do. Tamara said if you told them. Yep. Just trying to see if we have anything else. Did Erin make a statement before sentencing? Oh, well, we don't know. Sentencing hasn't happened yet. Today was just the jury verdict. So now it'll go into the sentencing phase of this proceeding, and the trial phase is now over. I don't know what'll happen at sentencing. Cataballo says Erin considered herself more clever than others, and yet she made so many mistakes. That is true. I don't know. Woman of Steel said, how long has it been since anyone has died from poisonous mushrooms in Australia? There have been people who have died from death cap poisoning, but I think the last one was a number of years ago. At least I believe so. Hold on, guys. Okay. Aaron said, yeah, the thing that struck me was the mushroom scientist saying that you can't forage a commercial quantity of death caps. Yeah, because they live that harmonious symbiotic relationship with the oak tree. So there's no way to cultivate that in a commercial setting, to the point where the police actually went out to the 2 largest mushroom farms in Victoria and actually got the people to walk them through the entire process of like start to packaging. And they were like, there's no way it could come from a place like this. It's just too controlled. They grow at a certain like temperature. They grow in these warehouses in buckets, and like there's just no way of cross-contamination. And he's just like, it didn't come from a commercial mushroom farm. They already have a teleseries in the work. Who's going to play Ping? Who's going to play me? Standing in the corner in a room that no one can see, taking notes on a laptop. It's the most boring part you could ever get for a TV series. You'll have to wear a fake ponytail. That's what you'll have to do. Kathy says, do death cap mushrooms get very big? They get fairly large when they're full grown. Yeah. They get fairly big. Some of the examples they showed us in court were quite big. Here, I'll show you. Here's someone holding one, and you can see like sort of So this shows like the two different the one on the inside or the left. This is like a mature version, and then the one on the right is like a younger version of the death cap mushroom. I learned that during the court case. So you can kind of see they're fairly large mushrooms. They get pretty big, like, fairly large. Ping should play Ping. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know any actors. I'm not sure. Put the kettle on? All right. Mick Malloy. I want Pluck a Duck to play Ping throughout the whole telly series. Pluck a Duck should play me. And then Speaking Quacks. That's it. That you have to have translation on the screen, like subtitles. That's what you'll have to do. Telemarketer. Yeah, they seem to be calling all day. Get out of my phone, telemarketer people. Yeah, so they described what this is, the ring on it, and it was one of the ways that you can actually identify a death cap mushroom is this ring, and then this bottom section too, and then on top it normally has like a distinctive color, like a greeny, browny sort of color, and then underneath it has the bright white gills. And they were saying that that was sort of one of the ways that you can try and ID a death cap mushroom. LD said there's a great Midsummer Murders about murder by poisonous mushrooms called Destroying Angel. Destroying Angels are a different type of mushroom. They grow quite frequently in the UK, and they're quite responsible for a lot of poisoning events in the UK. So I learned this while doing research for this trial. So Destroying Angels are actually pretty prevalent in England, and they cause quite a few mushroom poisonings. Can you say Amanita phalloides one more time? That was ridiculous at the start of the trial, like the first few weeks. I swear to God, I said that word about 9,000 times. Luckily, it sort of like petered off at the end, and we weren't seeing it as much. But for like the first few weeks, it was like Amanita phalloides this, Amanita phalloides that. It was like every second word. Musical Neptunian said for non-Australians, Pluck a Duck was a character dressed as a duck in a variety show called Hey Hey, It's Saturday. That's right. Hold on, I'll show them. I still reckon Pluck a Duck should play me. Yeah, here's Pluck a Duck. There you go. There's Pluck a Duck. So that's who I want to play me in the telly series. Book him. Book him to play Ping. Gail says at one point I was dreaming that word. Yeah. Me too. I hope I never have to say Amanita phalloides after today. Chipmunk said, a year from now, you'll get asked a trivia question on it and get $100 for getting it right. That's right, I will. I'll be at a pub. They'll be like, what was the scientific name of the mushroom Erin Patterson used in her beef Wellingtons? And I'll be like, I know this answer. I said it 500 times. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Texas Roadrunner said the death cap mushrooms are in areas of Texas associated with non-native oak trees that have been imported. Well, that's what happened here. The oak trees here are not native either, and they are imported, and along came death cap mushrooms with them. I do not. I don't know who that is. Prayers for Texas? Yeah, man. I read a story where a guy lost both his daughters to the flood. Now, they weren't at Camp Mystic, but they were camping with family, and both his daughters died, and he's having to fly back and deal with it. It's very, very sad. Jay said, I imagine that Nanette Rogers was Kathy Bates in the new Matlock series. Nanette Rogers is she did a good job. Marlene said, mushroom farms in PA are retired coal mines. Oh, that's interesting. Joe, hey Joe. To be fair, a true beef Wellington is a lot of work, but I have a feeling her beef Wellington would be as bad as Laurie Daybell's green chili chicken enchiladas. Well, she apparently took a lot of shortcuts and didn't follow the recipe 100%. And that was actually one of the points that the prosecution brought up, that if you were going to have such a special meal, how come you would deviate so drastically from the recipe if you'd never made it before? If you'd never made it before and you want this meal to go off without a hitch, how come you would go so far away from the what works, the recipe you were given? So yeah, there you go. I have not made it myself. Joe might have. Marco said a lot of work prepared for months. Months? You have to do months on it. I don't know about that. Yeah. We, as Australians, we know a lot about flood events. We get them here too. Tamara said death caps have been spotted and removed at one of the schools here in Leongatha, so they definitely grow here. Interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you. LD said, yeah, who makes beef Wellington with store-bought dough and gravy? Erin Patterson, apparently. LD said, but then who makes it with death caps? That's another good point. All right, hold on. Danny, I think it was almost 80 people last time I checked, like 78 people or something. I don't know if that's still correct, but there was, last I checked, almost, okay, 82 people. 82 people dead in the floods in Texas. So, yeah, they don't call for death caps. That's right. Marlene said, remember when there were death cap mushrooms in the jail yard? Yeah, so months ago when she was being held in detention before the trial, there were death cap mushrooms growing or some sort of mushrooms growing within the prison yard. And they actually shut down the prison for a period of time until they could remove them from the area because they were that worried about it. Rachel said, I love trying new recipes, but I remember looking it up when things started covering this, and it looks like too much work. It is a lot of work. See you later, Video Reel. See you later. Gayla said, the story of the family in the RV and the young dad who cut his arm. Yeah, there was a guy, and he punched through a window, and he severed his arm almost completely off, and he died from blood loss. So... Taz Devil said, Princess Cruises makes a yummy beef Wellington, no death caps at sea. Well, you'd hope not anyway. Not after you pay all that money for a ticket. Danny said, I had to stop watching coverage. I'm sorry about that. I know that it probably drives you crazy if you see it on the 24-hour news cycle over and over. Texas says, about 10 or so from Central Texas and the rest are from Kerr County. Bell Gibson vibes? Yeah, a little bit. Belle Gibson was a scammer, someone who was narcissistic and was sort of like image above all else. Didn't care who she hurt. She wanted to be number one. I don't know if Erin's the same as that. I think Erin's slightly different. Marlene said, I'm not a red meat fan. Pork is okay. Erin was trying to sell those mushrooms. Commissary Twinkie loaf. I don't think they have Twinkies here. Kathy said, I didn't watch the flood coverage. Couldn't handle it. Mama Mia said, I never heard of the meal until this case. Well, now you know about it. Packet gravy. Yeah, that was interesting. That's another thing. If you're making a special lunch, why would you make gray box? It's almost a crime. It's almost a crime itself to use gray box powdered gravy for a special sort of meal. Shouldn't you make it like from scratch and use like when you cook the beef and seal it, you could use the drippings from that and make some gravy with it. It would taste a lot better than using powder. For someone who made this complex beef Wellington. Belinda, hey Belinda. Belinda said, my heart goes out to the Patterson children. I can't imagine what they're going through and have done for the last 2 years. Yeah, it must be very disruptive to their lives, I'm sure. I can't say too much. I'm a little hamstrung on what I can say about them, but I'll just say that I feel for them. It's not an easy. None of this is easy for anyone. Not for Simon, not for his family, not for the extended Wilkinson family, not for the children, not for anyone. It's it's very, very hard. But I appreciate your sentiments, Belinda. LD said yes, Ping, but then she simply poisoned them, so the cuisine was not her priority. See, it's the little mistakes within the whole thing, I think. Oh, okay. Hey, Marco. Marco said, lucky she is going to jail and not starting her nursing course. Imagine if she became a nurse. Lucy Letby, V2. Apparently, I read the other day, Lucy Letby may be charged with more crimes soon. There you go. I don't know. We'll see. Hold on. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. I want to see if I can show you something from the trial. Hold on. All right. Do you guys want to see a little bit of evidence from the trial? Your first look at it? Your first look here, Knights of Ping. I don't know if you'll see this anywhere else. I just want to double check it doesn't have any children in it or anything. Okay. Remember I told you about a dining chair where they were writing letters on it for who sat where? And I described it a few times in my coverage of it, but I had to describe it to you. This is Erin's dining table, and they asked Ian Wilkinson to assign who sat at what place, right? Yeah, I can show it to you. There you go. Some evidence from the trial right here. And you see where they outlined who sat where. Like this is Heather. Erin sat here with the E. And then it's I can't read the writing, but there you go. There's one of who did this one. Let me just double check because there was a couple that were done. This is done from Ian. So this must be an I for Ian, H for Heather, E for Erin, and this must be Don and Gail. Here, that must be a G, and that must be a D for Don. So Ian, Heather, Erin, Don and Gail. So there you go. This is from Ian Wilkinson's evidence to the court. This is the photo that they tried to show you. This is where the lunch was served to the guests. And there you go. So now you finally get that visual representation of where this actually took place. That's breaking news. This is probably the first time it's been seen outside of the courtroom. So there you go. First time it's ever seen outside of the courtroom here on Nights with Ping. So yeah, that's what I was trying to describe to you. This is what we saw in court at the time, and I was trying to like tell you about it. It's like it's a dining table, and then like he wrote letters on it. Watermark it. Yeah, we probably should. We probably should. There you go. Yeah, I'll probably watermark it. That's probably the only one I'm going to show before I go through it and then watermark things and change stuff up and do stuff like that. So if you pinch my photos, I'll know because I'm the only one who's put this out at the moment. No one else has yet. So I'll know. But there you go. You'll see more of that in the coming days and weeks on this channel. There's a lot to go through, I'm telling you. I think there was over 120 exhibits in this trial, and we will go through as many of them as we can, and I will go through them with you. I don't know. Let me have a look. Let me look like so you guys can't see. Let me see on my side. I don't know. Maybe because they're brand new. Because that house was built like pretty close. I don't know. I'm not sure. But there you go. There's an inside look into the home. I'm not sure. But there you go. That was the dining table. That was from Ian Wilkinson's evidence. So they showed him a photo of this where it didn't have the writing on it. Then they asked him very, very graciously to like write who was sitting where and that's at the lunch. So it was at this table, at this lunch. That's where the people sat. And there you did it. She did it for privacy. Could be. Hey, Anna P, what's up? Anna P says, finally, the Victorian justice system got it right. I feel sorry for her children. I agree. Yeah. So some of the other stuff has to be looked at, edited, gone through X, Y, and Z. So I have to look at it first. I felt okay showing you that one because it doesn't have anything that could like no people or whatever that could be offended or against the law, that type of thing. Gail said, I thought it was to keep the house and evidence sealed in. Is that what it's for? I don't know if it was ever explained to us what that is or why it's there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if it was ever explained to us. XYZ. No XYZ for you. I'm Australian. I'm from Australia. We say XYZ. Only Americans say Z. I think anyway. Or it's the other way around, and I'm actually speaking in Americanisms. That could be true too. Let me double check. Yeah, Sean, I remember the gate photo with the media. Yeah. I remember that. She had a thing on her gate that was like, don't trespass, and if you come through here, you're breaking the law. Actually, I'll show it to you since Sean put it up. She had this on her gate just after all this news broke. Here. There you go. She put up this. This was on her gate just after the news got really hectic in Melbourne, and they just had a press conference. I'm pretty sure a week or so beforehand with the homicide squad, basically saying the homicide squad were involved, and media kept coming into her driveway and her property trying to contact her and talk to her. And then she put up this sign: please be advised that the owner of this property hereby gives notice to all medias of the member or any person employed or contracted to any media organization that you are not permitted to enter any part of this property as marked by the boundary fence. If you do so, then you are committing the offense of trespass. See Section 9 of the Summary Offences Act and will be reported to police. There you go. It's the other way around. Oh, there you go. There you go. The Americanisms. They're getting me. They're eventually going to take me over. Rachel said, Pink, can you tell us more about the hospital visit? Anything you didn't get to say? The hospital visit. The one where Erin went to the hospital in Leongatha? Is there anything I didn't get to say about the hospital visit? I don't think there's anything I didn't get to say. I'll check my notes though. I don't think so. I think we read through most of the hospital stuff. Jay said, I found it interesting because she apparently had to give the police a code to get in. Right. But I think it was open at one point, and you could just unlatch it or something. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was open at one point. Marlene said, show her not crying by the car when the news was interviewing. You guys want to see that again? I feel like we have so much more things to talk about now. And you guys are like, show us the video from 2 years ago. Show it again. All right. Yeah, I don't know if I can find it anymore. It was on the Australian, like, ages ago. Interview. Yeah, sorry about the squeaky chair. I did order a new chair. It hasn't come yet. Yeah, here we go. August 9th, 2023. This is courtesy of the Australian.
It's a tragedy what's happened.
Can you tell us about the meal that you cooked?
I'm so devastated by what's happened, by the loss of Don. Don is still in hospital. The loss of Ian and Heather and Gail. They were some of the best people that I've ever met. Gail was like...
Take your time.
Gail was the mum that I didn't have because my mum passed away 4 years ago. And Gail's never been anything but good and kind to me. And Ian and Heather were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
Can you tell us?
And the loss to the community, and to the families, and to my own children who've lost their grandmother.
Can you tell us a bit more about the lunch?
What I can tell you is that I just can't fathom what has happened. I just can't fathom what has happened. That Ian and Heather have lost their lives, and Gail has lost her life, and Donna's still in hospital, and I pray that he pulls through because my children love him.
And you must be pretty shaken up by this as well.
I'm devastated. I love them. And I can't believe that this has happened, and I'm so sorry that they have lost their lives.
How are you
I
kissed?
just can't believe it. Just can't believe it.
Can you tell us where the mushrooms came from?
I don't know if she was laughing or crying there. It sounded almost like she was laughing. Yeah, for me, this has always been the pinnacle video. That this is the whole reason I actually started following this case when we found a little tiny thing in a local newspaper saying that people had been admitted to hospital for death cap poisoning. But it was this video and the police press conference with Detective Inspector, I think it's Dean Thompson. Oi! Stop clawing my new rug. Detective Inspector Dean Thompson and this video were the two that convinced me that we were onto something, and this was going to be a huge trial that led to the last 2 years of following this. But yeah, there you go. This video with the they did not. This video was not, I don't believe, shown at court. No. This video was not shown during the trial. No. I don't know if it showed me she was guilty. It just showed me that there was something wrong. And it always, to me, it was this video, this interaction with how she reacted. That was always why I was drawn to this case. The other thing I'd say is the Erin Patterson we see here, this woman, is not who I felt like I saw in court. The woman we saw in court was a lot more polished and like reacted differently, spoke slightly differently. And there's another, is it at the end of this video where she gets mad at the press? There's one where she yells at them, but I'm not
There you
sure.
go, Don calls through. That's
Where
what I
did the
have to
mushrooms
say.
come from? Were they picked by you, or where did they come from, Mary? Can you tell us? What meal did you cook them? Did you eat the same meal, Mary?
It must not be this video. There's another video where she yells at the reporters, and you saw that, Erin, a little more throughout a couple of parts of the trial. But this Erin, I never saw. But the one we saw in court was very different. Luck said, I saw the thumbnail. Can we talk openly now? We can. Get off me lawn. Yeah. She had white pants on too. For someone, yeah. But I think by this point she had been cleared by the toxicologist. So if you remember the evidence, the toxicologist ran blood tests on her and they didn't find any ammonite or phalloides amatoxin within her blood. So she was released and she would have probably been okay by this point. Erin said, I'm sure Erin was coached by her lawyers before trial. She was very polished for most of the trial. Yes. Hey, Heather. Heather said, just tuned in. I feel she was guilty. Well done, the jury. That's true. Well done to the jury. Yep, we can talk openly. Julie said, I keep thinking about her playing Legos hours after the meal. What was going through her head? I have no idea. Sean said she had the money to live comfortably. Yeah, this is a woman who was financially well off. A lady who could lend money to family members so they could buy homes for their families and sort of just work on a whenever you can pay me back, you should do that kind of arrangement. This was not a woman who needed the sort of child benefit money that was between her and Simon. Like, it's not something she ever really, well, I'm just saying it's small amounts of money compared to all this mortgage money that she was bringing in. Small fries. Julie said her property portfolio would be worth way more than her $2 million inheritance. Oh yeah. But you heard during the trial the different properties that Erin and Simon, when they separated, split down the middle, and they had all these interests in all these different properties between them. So they are not poor by any stretch. Marco said, how about the evidence that she pulled up on the side of the road to poo and then picked it up and dropped it off at the BP? Diarrhea picked up? Strange. Yeah, a couple of things didn't make any sense. Things like that. The prosecution alleged that there was never a stop at the side of the road on that trip. That was not true. Rory, hi, giant cat, come here. Gayla says, when she was going on about school fees, I was confused that she didn't need his money. Right. Rachel said, how did Erin react to Simon testifying? I think she was more concerned when her children were brought up and you saw her get a bit, emotional over it. Jane said it's not. Yeah, it's not. I know what it's about. Lux said, hi, everyone. So happy to hear this news. I was really nervous she would get away with it. It was a good verdict, but I don't suspect this is the end of it. I don't suspect this is the end by any stretch of the imagination at all. By the way, I want to thank these people. Wendy R., thank you so much. Incredible work reporting on this so carefully. Thank you. I appreciate it. Trisha says, coming in late. Thanks, Ping. Back to the start. That's right. Back to the start. Thank you. Jelly Tot, looking forward to the shows. Followed every day. I thought at times there was reasonable doubt. So I'm interested to know all the information. I will give it to you. I'll give you the things that I have, my personal notes, and what information we weren't able to get through in the couple of hours every night through the trial. I have more for you. Rachel, thank you very much. I'm sorry if I missed that before. I didn't mean to. Thank you. Gracie says, yeah, hello from Chadstone, Jordanville. Yeah, your sister has the shop across from the court in Morwell. I think I went there for food a couple of times when I was in Morwell. Danny says, why did she do it? And I said, we don't know. And Gracie became a member. Thank you to all of you. And I had a few others that I want to say thanks to in the Ko-Fi. Thanks to Medio. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm probably not. I always get names wrong, but I hope it's close enough so you know that I'm saying thank you to you. Thank you to my friend Kathy Lynch, said she loved the trial coverage. Thank you. And to Marco, thanks for being great work. Thank you for all your help too. I appreciate it. Oh, you said thank you every time? Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying thank you. But you guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting the channel throughout this entire trial. It's been a crazy process. It's been insane amounts of hours. I'm happy to head back to my normal life for a small period of time until I go back to another trial. So we are looking for a new trial. I haven't found anything I really like as of yet, but we'll be going to another one in 2025. So we'll find another one. Zen said, hi, Ping. Hi, everyone. Hey, Zen. Good to see you. Julie Miller says, no joke, she was upset. She destroyed their lives. Yep. Musical Neptunian says, thank you, Ping. Thank you. Chipmunk said, was there more on the service station? Not really. The service station evidence was basically what we told you and what you heard. There wasn't anything we kept back about that. She went into the service station. We may be able to show you that CCTV. If I get it in the stuff I've requested, I should be able to show you that video of her at the service station. So just hold on, and I will have that over the next couple of days. And not really. The questions and stuff about the service station were mostly timing related. So when did she get there? How long did she spend there? What did she buy at the service station? That's about it. Nothing that we kept back or anything. Woman of Steel said, I'm glad you're going to keep going with it. I am. Zen said, I was getting concerned that maybe she would be found innocent. I had some fears too, but the fact that there were no questions throughout the thing or no interruptions to their deliberations, I had faith that the jury knew what they were doing and they would come to a verdict one way or the other at some point. It seemed like they were just going, they had a lot of evidence to go through, and I think it just took some time, which, you can understand, a 10-week trial. Rory, hi. I will feed you soon. 99 likes, so close. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hey, hit that like button if you can. And like some of the other people during the trial, if you want to see the rest of the evidence, like I showed you a little bit of it before. By the way, that was a world exclusive. No one outside of that courtroom has seen that photo before. Showed it for the first time here on this channel. If you want to see the rest of that evidence, hit that subscribe button and help Ping out. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for hitting the like button. Yeah, so we have a lot more to go through. Over 120 exhibits in this trial. So we have a lot of evidence to show you over the coming weeks. So you guys will be the first ones to know on this channel. All right, I think we're gonna wind up for the day. It's been a very exciting day, very full-on day. So I'm going to tell you what happened. At 2:15, the jury came into the courtroom and told the court that they had reached a verdict. That verdict was called out. Each charge was read out, and the reply from the jury was guilty on each charge. As we heard it, it was, guilty on one count of murder, guilty on this count of murder. So they read it out like guilty on Don Patterson, guilty on Gail Patterson, guilty on Heather Wilkinson, and then it was the fourth charge of attempted murder, guilty on Ian Wilkinson. So that's what we heard in court. I sent out the tweet within seconds of that going live, within seconds. So I tweeted it out at 2:18, and that was right as we got to the end of the sentence of the fourth charge. I pushed that out, so you guys would have been the first in the world to hear it. Chipmunk said, wonderful job. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to enjoy I'll be on every day, but I'm going to enjoy not having to travel out to the court every day for a little while. That'll be a nice break. Let's see. They do not. The jurors are prohibited from talking about their deliberations at all. And we're not allowed to contact them either. So, no, not in Australia. Like I said, you did such an amazing job, by far the best of anyone else. Thank you. I appreciate it. Huzzah. All right. I think she was just very stoic, just not a lot of emotion or anything. Just like a lot of people when they hear a verdict, I guess it takes time for them to sink in and understand like what's the next steps and what legal options do I have, that type of thing. So probably take her a little while. I don't know. I don't know who that is, and never seen a photo of her, but it's possible. I don't know. I'm not sure who she is. Yeah, big difference from the USA. Like I said, the judge's charge stressed me out. It was a long process. Closing statements and the judge's charge took like the better part of a couple of weeks, almost 2 weeks. It was a lot of time, but it was a long trial too. A lot of stuff to get through. So a bitter woman. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go for the day. We've been on for a couple of hours. I love you all. Thank you to all the people and all these super chats. Thank you so much. I'll put them up again. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. And the people who did the co-fis too. You guys are very helpful. I'll be back tomorrow. Let me work on some of this evidence tonight, and I will start working at breaking it down, making sure it applies to any laws that we have to still apply to, like underage people and stuff like that. And I hope to be able to bring you episode 1 of our post-trial coverage tomorrow. So get ready, get a good sleep, and you'll start seeing some of that evidence tomorrow for our first podcast in the post-trial. I love you all. Have a great night out there. That's it. trial's over. We're done. We're out of court. And I'll be back for sentencing, though. I'll be back for sentencing in the Erin Patterson case at a later date. Love you all. Have a great night. Good night, everyone. Bye.